There's an island in the Pacific that's on the verge of autocracy. Its leaders have acquired a huge amount of power over the citizens. They raid journalists for reporting on crimes that the state has committed. They lock up whistleblowers for calling out corruption. If doctors and teachers talk about their jobs on social media, they could go to jail. And they ban the media for reporting on certain modes of transport. So, where the bloody hell are you? Well, if you answer that question out loud, you can go to jail. But I'll say it because I'm brave. It's New Zealand, and we need to keep an eye on them, or else. No, it's us. It's Australia. Surprise! Prior to the National Security Information Act of 2004, the top 3 Australian secrets were the Vegemite recipe, Australia 2's winged keel, and Harold Holt's post-prime ministerial career as a taxi driver in Bundaberg. No one talks about it to this day. That's it. That's all the secrets we had. Of course, there was Pine Gap, but that's more of an American secret, and everyone knows that the only person who could lose their job if they were to talk about it is the Prime Minister. Everything else was on the table until 9/11, or in Australia's case, the Tampa crisis happened. And the National Information Security Act was passed in 2004. On that date, the she'll be right, no wuck and furries version of Australia was all of a sudden locked away in John Howard's basement, never to be seen again. Instead, in its place, we have a bunch of legislation that makes transparency harder than ever. The National Security Information Act is the big one. Anything deemed by the government as a national security risk can't be reported on or won't go to court. And if it does go to court, you'll never hear about it. Like the case of Witness J, discovered in 2019, a person who was secretly jailed in the ACT. We don't know their name, their crime, their sentence, or what they were sentenced for. The only thing we do know is what Witness J looked like, thanks to a court sketch from the secret trial. Could be any one of us. How we know they exist is that while they were in jail, they were writing a memoir, and the AFP raided the cell and took it away from them, pissing off Witness J. They launched proceedings against the ACT Justice and Community Safety Directorate. So if you want to keep a secret, let the little prisoners keep their dear diaries. It's already got a lock on it. Then there was the case of Witness K, a secret trial against a whistleblower who revealed that Australian secret agents bugged the East Timor Prime Minister's office while negotiating the Sunrise gas deal with the Australian government. Whistleblowing that happened in 2004. It went all the way to The Hague, the deal got torn up and renegotiated. But it wasn't until 2014 Witness K went to trial in secret in Australia a decade later. Now that should be concerning. It's like the fossil fuel companies run this country. There could be thousands of secret trials. We don't know. Look, I'm not an expert, but I think we need to be at least on the lookout for witnesses A through to I. Then there's the misnamed Freedom of Information Act, because it's not free and you don't get information. Journalists or anyone can request government documents, but it costs shitloads of money and documents come back completely redacted, way past deadlines, and so they're pretty much useless. And when news organisations have the resources and the time to challenge the government through the Information Commissioner, the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, and the Federal Court, that process can take as long as 3 years, by which time, in our hypothetical, that journalist would have been laid off by several news organisations and is now working inside Prime Minister and Cabinet, and they can look at all the secret documents they want. Also on this island is National Cabinet, a regular meeting of Premiers and First Ministers and the Prime Minister. It was created during COVID to talk about what? COVID, presumably, but we actually don't know. The whole thing is a secret. South Australia may want to change the size of their rail gauge again and ruin the dreams of boomers everywhere to cross the continent in the Indian Pacific. We need to know what is being said in National Cabinet. But here's the thing. The National Cabinet is not a cabinet. It's not even a bedside table. It's a catch-up with the leaders of the states and territories. It used to be called COAG. The name was changed for 2 reasons. 1, COAG sounds like a brand of glue, and 2, Scott Morrison relabelled it National Cabinet so he could then claim the meetings were secret and cabinet in confidence. You know, like the real Commonwealth Cabinet, but it's not. Morrison just made it up, and when he was questioned about it, he told people it was secret, and we all just went along with it. But more on the Minister for Everything in a second. There are heroes on this island, like the Auditor General, whose great work includes sifting through tons of Excel spreadsheets to find anomalies and expose waste and conflicts of interest. The Auditor General exposed the Leppington Triangle deal, sports rorts and car park rorts, They are an incredible group of heroic public servants doing their boring little job. Amazing work. And what was its reward? Well, the Morrison government defunded the department by $14 million, meaning that the Australian National Audit Office can now only complete about 38 audits a year. 38! That's not many. Angus Taylor has more offshore bank accounts than that. Those cuts were reversed in May's budget, so now they can do about 48 audits a year, which still isn't many. I've got more offshore bank accounts than that. I don't know if you're picking up a trend here. These secrecy laws have been around a while, but it seems like they've only really been used in about the last 10 years or so. Who could have gotten power in the last 10 years or so? Who could have gotten their very first public ministerial appointment around then? One prominent senior counsel, Geoffrey Watson, points to the exact date. Transparency died on Friday the 8th of November 2013. It happened at a media briefing called then by the Immigration Minister, Scott Morrison.
The overnight incident, what's become of that boat of asylum seekers?
I will not comment further in relation to on-water matters. Thank you.
General, this is of great public interest.
I will not
The fate
comment
of those
further
people.
in relation to on-water matters.
Have they been sent
I will
to
not
Indonesia?
comment further in relation to on-water matters. I think we've dealt with that question.
What a throwback. If you remember 2013, the phrase, "I will not comment in relation to on-water matters," was repeated for months at every immigration minister's press conference. It was really famous. It was number 5 on Triple J's Hottest 100. It was even on afternoon game shows.
Well, the final question worth $7,000. Scott, here you go. Take a look at this picture. What's the well-known catchphrase?
It's an ongoing operational matter.
Oh, wrong. So close. Hey, I bet the audience knows what it was.
I will not comment in relation to on-water matters!
Yes, sadly, Scott, you miss out on the $7,000, which isn't enough to buy you a journalist visa to Papua New Guinea anyway. Good night.
But what does on-water matters mean? Well, as Geoffrey Watson puts it, there was a hint in those words that it might have something to do with national security, but that was never the case. No evidence was ever produced. Once the government got away with it, they got a taste for it, and that kind of secrecy has an alluring, addictive quality, which is also how we ended up with this. But don't worry, there is a new government, and thankfully, Labor is continuing the tradition of holding National Cabinet in secret. Well, that is a relief for the gas industry. And that is where we are today on this island. Laws designed to protect its citizens instead being used to protect the fragile egos of the megalomaniacs they elect. It seems today everything on this island is secret for no good reason. As Damien Cave from the New York Times put it, the most recent expansion of governmental secrecy came last year with an espionage bill that increased criminal penalties for sharing information deemed classified, even if a document happened to be as harmless as a cafeteria menu. So, I tested it out. I reached out to Aussie's Cafe in Parliament House. It's the cafe in the middle of Parliament House. You need a pass to get there. Only MPs and gas lobbyists can go there. And I asked them to send me a cafeteria menu. And they did. But don't worry, I'm not going to jail because the sources are redacted.
A Rational Fear is brought to you by its Patreon supporters. For as little as the price of a cup of coffee, you can get this podcast ad-free, exclusive content, discounts on live tickets, and access to the Discord chat server. Chip in at patreon.com/arationalfear. Or else.